Welcome to the OTD show, Off the Derech. My name's Chana Wald, and I'm here. We have a brand new show on our new medium called YouTube. So we're really excited to see you and get to know you. So today's guest is a very dear friend of mine. Her name's AVRAM. So let's bring her on.
Hi. Hi, Anna. So nice to be here with you.
Yeah, welcome to the show.
So exciting.
Anda's been a good friend for many years. And Anda, why don't you tell everyone about yourself?
Wow. Is there anybody there that doesn't know me by now? Well, my name is Anda. I'm not going to tell you my age. You could look on Facebook, but I lied over there also. And what I'm here today to discuss, I guess, is some things about my relationships and my experiences with some OTD in my life. And wow, what's going on here? Okay, I like myself better this way. I get closer. And I just would like to say something small about me. I'm a recruiter, a professional recruiter. I've been in this field for many years, helping a lot of people in New York, mainly Jewish, Israelis, get great jobs here in the city. And I really changed to the better a lot of people's lives with that. And through helping people getting jobs, I also, of course, speak to them about their personal life, about certain challenges, and I'm a great believer of the soul and the body connection and healing yourself and doing a lot of things by connecting to your soul, connecting to your essence, connecting to your truth.
So I think that's exactly why we brought her on your show. She has a lot of experience in jobs. She meets tons of people. If you look her up on social media, you could definitely see she has a huge following of people who love her authenticity, her passion, her sensuality, if we could say that.
Sensuality.
So the reason why we brought Anda on the show is to talk about her experience with exocetum and some tips that might be helpful for you. So let's start about, I think people want to get a sense of who you are and how you live your life as a goddess, as a Malka of the king. So tell us more about how do you live a life with passion every day?
Okay, so I would like to say a few other things about myself. Like, I'm a single mother. I have a beautiful 9.5-year-old daughter. I named her Eliana because I believe she was a true gift from God. Eliana, God answered me when the doctor said it's impossible. I'm a great believer in miracles and in sending your message out there to the universe, to God, to anybody you want to call it. And what I like to do the most is when I'm honest about my life, about myself, about my dreams, to go and get them in a very special, unique way. I'm connected to the universe, and I mainly listen to my senses. I'm also, something that I'm going to tell you a little secret, I like dating men that are a little younger than me. So
a little, just a
few centuries, because I'm an old soul. A few years here and there. And by being a lot around young people, I learned a lot about the ex-Hasidim generation, about people I dated and their friends and their friends' friends.
Yeah, so you talked about the senses, the power of the senses, and that's really, I think, where you fit on our show. For a lot of people coming from the ex-Hasidic community, they were told to do something and they did it. It's not like they had a strong sense of self where they could say, no, I want to do this, or, well, I feel strongly about this. Everything was pushed on them. So maybe you could tell us a little bit about that, about how does a person learn to get in touch with their senses once they've been in such a system where they've been told what to do for so long?
It's a process. It doesn't happen overnight. What I do find out, not only that they don't know how to connect to their senses, even the opposite, they feel guilty about using their senses. They feel guilty about anything that has to do with any pleasure or any exploration. So they end up, not only that they've been abused in this area when they were growing up by parents, by teachers. From what I understood from stories I heard, that they used to get beaten up in school very badly, not to mention molestation stories, incest, and things like this. And many OTDs, when they were young, they were made to feel so guilty if they felt any pleasure in their body. One person told me a story once that when he was home once, he took his tzitzis and he was like caressing himself with the tzitzis. And his father walked into the room, just he was giving himself a little bit simple pleasure with the tzitzis. And his father said, "You see, that's all your fault when bad things happen to you." Someone started up with him, like tried to touch him, and he went to tell his father, and his father said, "That's exactly why you get these problems. Because you're looking for it, you're causing it, because you see what you do with the tzitzis." So this is one example. So this person was so young that they got so traumatized. So later on in life, that person, for example, developed psoriasis, let's say. So in life later on, when I witnessed him putting some cream on his wounds, he was afraid to caress his body in front of me. He was like kind of slapping himself when he was putting the medicine, because he was afraid that, God forbid, he would give himself some pleasure. And I have a lot of examples like this about different situations. So
you're saying that you dated someone, and in your experience with
this story is not about someone I dated. This story is just in general about somebody. But I dated a few OTDs, not only one. So I'm not gonna. A lot of people know who I dated and this. So I'm not gonna say who exactly it was. But it's a lot of stories about a lot of different kind of people, and they have one thing in common: the guilty feelings about being good to your body, about listening to your senses, about enjoying yourself in your own skin, in your own flesh. Because in the religion, so much emphasis was on the soul, on being ruchnius, spiritual, that there wasn't enough emphasis on the fact that the body is really the holy thing that the soul is put in it. And if you don't take care of your body the right way and listen to it, your soul will never be happy, will be miserable. And when the soul is miserable, it puts illnesses in the body, in the physical body.
Okay, so we're talking about leaving a system, a Hasidic-like system, and once a person leaves the system, there's so many decisions they have to make. And what Anda was just talking about is the importance of these individuals who leave the community to get in touch with themselves, to explore their senses, and in that way find pleasure or
satisfaction in their life. They can live a meaningful life, and empowered and meaningful and passionate life. Because to live without senses, it's almost like eating food without any spices, any sugar, anything. Very, it's like without any taste. Living life without any taste.
Okay, but let's talk about these individuals. So they leave the community, and all of a sudden they're bombarded by their five senses: sex, drugs, questions about, the world, the universe.
Yeah, like abusing every sense.
Right. So on one hand, you're saying, okay, people leaving the community need to get in touch with their senses, and then they'll find a deeper sense of self and more pleasure and more spiritual awakening, if we can call it that. But then what we see is that people are coming, way too far into their senses, and they're exploring their senses so much, and they're almost becoming addicts, and that's what we're seeing with a lot of OTD ex-Hasidim. So
right.
how do you find balance? Or
as I said before, it's a process. It's not going to happen overnight, because their system was not ruined overnight. It took years. So now, when they're going out there, they have to allow themselves to experience things. It's okay, but they have to go maybe a little slower. Maybe they have to do some research of what's considered in the free world healthy and legal, and to start experimenting with the things that are more safe in the beginning, and and then to try a new thing and see how they really feel about it. Give it some time, not jump into too many things too fast, and not to try to lose yourself in the senses, but to try to find yourself in the senses. There's a big difference. Not to escape your new life by let's say taking each sense and using it to the max. Like, let's say if you like music, it's good, but if you're gonna blast music in your ears, you might lose your hearing sense. And the same thing with oral senses, the same thing with visual things. So I think one first step is to do some research, and maybe sometimes it's also good to take the advisor of someone that is professional in a certain field that can help. It's nothing to be ashamed of. That's what I think for a beginning. But
so I think we're confusing senses and emotions. So on one hand, you're saying explore your senses, get comfortable with your body, get comfortable with your sexuality. But then there's the realm of emotions, which I think is the biggest thing that people in the world need help with. How to get in touch with their emotions and how to make decisions based on their emotions. So for a Hasidic guy who grew up in a community, what are emotions? They were told to not feel. They were told to go numb. Okay, so now they leave the community, but they're not feeling emotions. They're also going numb, right? They're going numb through drugs. They're numbing themselves.
To the senses. But I think first step to emotions is to get in touch with the senses, in the sense that a sense can trigger an emotion. Once you use a sense a little bit, let's say you explore something with the sense of smell, let's say. Suddenly a smell is going to remind you of someone that's dear to you. Maybe your mother, when you felt safe with her and she was loving you, and so that's going to bring good emotion. But many times senses can trigger in ex-Hasidim very negative emotions, and they won't be able to handle it because in some cases you have more negative emotions than happy emotions. So that's when they think they can abuse the senses to escape that. So another thing I say, try to be true to yourself and not be afraid. And that's another thing. And there will be a lot of roller coasters. Once you deal with emotions and senses, you'll go through roller coasters.
So guys, we're talking about emotions versus intellect, right? We're talking about individuals who come from a community of intellect, do this, do that, blah, blah, blah. And it's not only Hasidic. We're just taking the Hasidic community because they kind of bring it out a little stronger than in other communities. But we definitely do see it in other communities. And we're saying, how do we teach people to trust their emotions, to trust their senses, and that'll give them, a deeper sense of self without abusing the system. So if you have a question, you can, comment on the below, or we can bring you on screen. This is a new medium that we're not used to, but we love to have your participation as much as possible. So, yeah.
Senses can be giving you your natural senses can, if you use them the right way. And look, I'm not a master. I'm still learning every day about a new feeling, a new emotion, a new sense. And I realized that once you learn to use your senses the right way and you bond with yourself, it gives you a higher high than any artificial drug. And getting high on life is the best high. I personally am very against drugs. I think drugs, they limit you, they keep you small, they don't allow you to develop your feelings and your emotions, they numb you. I want to say that I was thinking about it, that many ex-Hasidim, because they were so different than the community wanted them to be, when they were little kids, the parents and the schools numbed them by giving them all these ADD drugs and medicines and everything. They were under those drugs, medicines, whatever, for many, many years. So now what are they doing? They're doing it to themselves, again, through abusing certain things that are available, instead of first exploring the natural thing, their gifts that they're given, that every human being is given, and that's our divine gift. to function in this world, to experience life by our senses.
It's a very good point. I think we should tell the story of how we got together a little bit. So I went on a Shabbaton and I met this individual who was ex-Hasidish, I would call him. He worked in construction, fixing cars, okay. He was a bit cold, when I first met him, and then the more we got to talk, he would open up a little bit, share a little emotion. But something that he did share with me is that since he left the community, he has no connection to family, and especially his relationship with his mother is like, totally cut off. He doesn't talk to her, a lot of resentment towards one another. So that's the stage one. Stage two is that this individual, when I was with him, he would pop pills like all the time. Like, I don't know what it was, ecstasy, Molly, pot, you name it. He couldn't stay still. You could say he had ADD or whatever, but that was my experience with him. And once in my relationship with him, I said, hey, do you mind not doing that? Like, let's give it a break. Like, I'm right here. Like, out of respect for me, do you mind not popping pills? Like, I just find it a little offensive, if I'm spending time with you and you'd rather numb yourself with pills rather than connecting. And he was able to stave off the pill for like, let's say, a half hour, whatever it was. Anyway, end of the story is, this guy moves to Florida. He wants to run away from everything, all his problems. He gets into construction in Florida in this middle of nowhere, like this community, like outside of anything Jewish, anything spiritual at all, okay? I don't know who should tell the rest of the story.
And then, okay, so I was in Florida, and I hung around. I had to visit my aunt. She's older. I'm not going to say her age, because in our family it's very sensitive. And if I say her age, she'll kill me. She'll take me out of any inheritance that I might get. So she's a little older, and she fell and broke her leg. So I flew there to make sure she's okay and everything. And I was kind of lonely. So at night, some friends of mine told me, an older friend from New York, to introduce me to a new friend. So I went out a little bit, had some fun. Meanwhile, some nice guy from New York came in a crazy wild car, and a very sweet guy, and he came there, and I didn't see him popping pills, but he definitely spoke a lot about some drugs. Oh yeah, he did come high on marijuana, blowing some air in my face. But it's okay, I told him right away, I'm so against it, and why do you need to do it? He said, no, because if I don't do it,
Wait, hold on. I just want all those guys out there, if you want a girl like her, or like me, but mainly like her.
Like both of us.
But both of us. Okay, get your life together, because we don't want no drugs, yo.
No drugs. We want to be high on life.
And high on you, not the pill that,
right.
Yeah.
We want you to be high on us, not on drugs. Yeah. So I met him, and he seemed very nice, and I spoke to him. Then I saw how he was saying how all women are objects, and there's no such a thing as feelings, and it's all bull. And you're not allowed to curse on the show, are you? Okay. So. And then we had some discussions, of course. I tried to sting him a little bit, mentioning God, mentioning this, mentioning that. And at the end, he said, okay, I had enough, I'm leaving. So I said, come here, give me a hug. What about a hug? He said, no, I'm not giving you a hug. To make the long story short, I did get a hug at the end. Because nobody can say no to me.
To this.
No. and then, okay, so everything was nice. We even became friends on Facebook or whatever. And then the next day, I don't know what happened, Miss Hannah, that I wasn't in touch with her like
we
for a
haven't
while.
talked for like ages.
Yeah, we haven't been in touch for
I thought about him.
time.
I said, who do I know who's in Florida who could like just visit him, see how he's doing adjusting, be a little nurturing.
In nowhere. He's in a very far place, and
So
I was in Miami.
Yeah.
Such no chance to even meet. It's
Right.
like 2-hour drive, I think.
So I texted her his number, and I texted him her number. And out of nowhere, he calls me immediately back. This is a guy who has the worst communication ever. He calls me back. He says, how do you know this woman?
And I thought, I don't see right. I thought I sent the message to the wrong person. I was looking at the phone, putting my glasses, looking on and off. I couldn't believe she told me, I have a friend, this is the name, and I checked his name on Facebook to see if it's the same name. I thought it's the same name. And like, it's so weird how things connect.
So the bottom line is,
Yeah.
she connected to him. She made a connection, like Anda does to people, that was friendly and warm and almost like a mother, you could say.
I don't know how to say it, but he kept calling me mom the whole evening.
Oh, that's the main part of the story, is that
he felt this feeling of warmth.
He felt the warmth, and he kept saying, like, you're acting like such a mother to me, and so on.
He just kept calling me mom, okay mom, mom, mom.
So the point of the story is that spiritually, as Jews, as souls of the universe, we're all connected. And here, I saw this guy a couple months ago, and he looked like he had no family support. He needed some nurturing. And Hashem sent this motherly, nurturing figure to him. And it was an extremely positive experience for him. And he told me how nice Anda was, and how, just that love, that feeling that she gave him, whatever those minutes were, it made him feel like he was at home or comfortable with himself.
Yeah, I feel that what he got at that moment, it was like I gave him some tough love. I was hard on him, like a mother, like drugs is ridiculous, doesn't let you develop, doesn't let this, you're never going to find a good girl doing this stuff. But at the same time, at the end, the whole time I was also making jokes with him, and he was teasing me, I was teasing him, so there was, even though I was telling him all this like tough love thing, I still was making jokes. He felt I like him, and at the end, I wanted him to go away without a physical, and that's where the senses come in. I wanted a physical touch, an extra sense to be involved here.
Okay.
Okay, Mazel Tov. Mazel Tov.
We're back. We just got a message.
We had a little earthquake here in Washington Heights. Okay. So, no, so I'm saying, so that's the other thing. When you meet someone in general, it's good to use the senses. Also, giving someone, let's say, a hug, can make a whole thing different. And everything was good with him. He was laughing, he was talking, but when I said, give me a hug, he freaked out. Like, it was very hard for him to do it. And that's another thing with ex-Hasidim. Maybe they're used to touch only maybe as a punishment, maybe as an abuse, but they don't know to give a hug as a friend, as a friendship, as a healing thing. I remember one experience with a very close person that I had a relationship with when I first met him, and we went on a subway once. I'm never going to forget that. He had like something stuck here, a piece of something stuck here. And we were in the subway, and I was a little embarrassed. It was just, we started going out for a very short time. And I reached out my hand, and I wanted to just go clean it in the subway, to go like this to him. And he went like this. And he said, I don't need your pity. So I don't know where he came with this comment and the pity. So later on in life, when I was close to him, every time I wanted to give him some affection, I said, come, I want to give you some pity. So that was like the joke. But I don't know what was his association in the mind by me trying to fix something he had stuck here. Also, maybe it was in the subway in front of a lot of people. He wasn't used to showing affection or hands or touching in front of all the people in the subway. But where the word me touching him and pity comes together in the real world, so that was a shock to me.
Okay, so that brings us to the next segment, which is touch and ex-Hasidim. A lot of ex-Hasidim, once they leave the community, if they did grow up in the community, or in most families, maybe they had love, maybe they had hugs, but nothing compared to once they leave the community and all of a sudden they're bombarded with, women and men, if you're a woman, and, and as Anda was just explaining, basically they don't know what it means to use the power of the touch. They don't know how to use touch as a love language. They don't know.
If I can say something, most of the ex-Hasidim that I spoke to, they never saw their parents touching each other. They never saw any sign of affection. Hopefully they didn't see the parents beating up each other, because, but they never saw any affection. So to grow in a place that you don't see even the father giving a hug to a mother, or a little kiss, or a caress, but bringing Cookie on the show, I need to mention something that I noticed also, that most ex-Hasidim end up getting a pet.
Wow.
Either a cat or a dog or who knows what else, but I know, and it's amazing because I just got this dog, not because I wanted it, my daughter wanted it, and I brought it for her. And for me, it's not a natural thing to have a dog, but ex-Hasidim somehow feel very connected to they feel safe with touching the animal and caressing the animal, and that's a good, for example, healing method for people that have issues with touch and affection, to start with a pet, because the pet will never hurt them back. Well, they might bite you a little bit, nibble you, but
I think that this show is not about how to heal trauma, okay? Because even if ex-Hasidim did have a lot of traumatic events, a lot of them do fall in the mainstream where they just didn't have touch as part of their life. So it's not like we're trying to heal ex-Hasidim and solve all their problems, but we are seeing both of us have people contacting us and asking for advice. How do I pick up a girl? I've never I've never had an intimate relationship with a girl before. How does it start?
And they seem cold, ex-Hasidim, because they don't know to touch naturally. Also, they can seem to the regular person, to the regular girl or something, like they're cold, like something they're awkward. They don't touch a little bit when they're supposed to, or when they touch, it's a little too much or inappropriate. So if an ex-Hasid wants to go out there in the world and not just deal with other ex-Hasidim, then they have to learn a little bit the non-verbal touching language. Okay. If I can mention one thing, I remember hearing a story that, like, a Hasidic family, they said they have a kid that's a little troublemaker, ADD, they put him on medicine, on this, and nothing worked. They took him to a Hasidic doctor, and the Hasidic doctor said that the kid has sensory issues, and he needs to be combed with brushes on his back. I go, what do you mean? Well, it's an animal, it's a horse. What do you mean brushes on the back? I don't understand. So I asked the mother and the father, I asked them, excuse me, let me ask you, did you ever try to hug the child? Did you ever try to give him the chills? Did you ever try to caress him before he goes to sleep? They go, no. But no, this is a new system. You brush the kid and it relaxes him. Do you realize how it sounds?
Okay, well, as a therapist, it's called deep brushing, and it's basically giving the person deep,
stimulation. Right. But how about also
right? So you're saying give them touch.
Give
don't give
them
them a brush.
Before the
give
brush.
them a touch.
Yeah, it's rhyming. No,
give them touch.
Don't give a brush before a brush. Right. No, I like to be brushed with the brush also. Don't get me wrong.
Okay, so before we go into touch, let's just talk about general social demeanors that you have seen as a recruiter, as a professional working with them. For many, I just want to say Anda helps, OTD people. There's been a lot of people who have reached out to her just to get in touch with themselves, get whether it's a resume or prepare for an interview. So if any of you are interested, please contact Anda. And so.
Okay, so before touch even, there is basic, again, nonverbal communication, that if you want to get a job, it's not so much about the degree you have and the education, it's more about the personality. And if you walk into a place and you don't show a certain self-confidence, that you can look in the eyes of the interviewer or the people around. So a lot of ex-Hasidim, for example, they were taught not to look in women's eyes. So they might feel very uncomfortable when a woman is in the room, and also they might have not such a high self-esteem that even in the men's eyes it's hard for them to look. And I know that for sure because I remember dealing with certain situations like this. Also, having a handshake. Like, again, ex-Hasidim are not coming from a place that you walk into a room and you give your hand and say, hi, nice to meet you, not to a man and not to a woman. Maybe they're Shalom Aleichem, but they don't have, it's in the outside business world, a handshake. There is an art how to give a handshake. You have to press a certain strength. You cannot your hand just go like this when you go for a job interview. It shows a personality. So it's eye contact. It's how you hold your body. It's how you sit. It's how you smile. It's how you even answer a simple question. Do you think you can handle that? So there is a difference if you say, sure, I can give it a try. I'd love to. sounds good to me, or you say, I don't have a problem with that. Nobody said you have a problem. Why bring in the problems? Things like this. So another person, it might be natural for them, all these things. And this is the first impression. People say that a sale or an interview, the interviewer can kind of feel in the first few seconds if they want you or not. And later on, it's only, the details. So the first smile, it's another thing to learn how to smile, to look in the eye, and to make the other person like you, and to create a certain chemistry between two people.
Right. So she's saying, if I'm wrong, that people often on this is saying that someone who's leaving the community was never told the importance of eye contact, right? Maybe they were
Just
taught
the opposite.
Yeah.
To lower their eyes, not
Right.
to look.
Right. To be honest, what are the jobs that most of these, I'm going to talk about guys, are getting? It's construction, right? It's mostly
Trailer
jobs.
driver.
Bus driver, delivery. It's all jobs that are related to things or projects or production. It's not really related to people jobs.
But even let's say someone is a delivery guy. If he goes to a lady and he brings her, I don't know, chicken or potatoes or milk, and he goes, here, Miss, bye, he's going to get a tip, $1 or $2. But if he says, thank you, even in every job, they can create a little better success if you use normal people skills.
Right. So I think that actually comes down to their ability to process emotions.
Right.
Meaning they're resorting to these behaviors from what they learn in the community, because when they do make that eye contact, when they do make that handshake, there's a plethora of emotions that go off from not being stimulated like that before, and they want to go numb. Okay, so it's, yeah, we can teach you tools of how to do this and what the right things to do, but it really comes down to what Anda was saying in the beginning about being connected to yourself, about being able to process emotions, and so on.
And drugs will just numb you. Drugs will not help you. Like sometimes they think, if I take pot, I'll act more normal. No, it's not that. It's maybe in your head, but the other people can feel it. So it's only a natural way to go about it and to be truthful to yourself. It's a journey, it's a process. It's like going to the gym, it's like any exercise.
Right. So it's interesting that you brought up about the gym, because we were talking about people who come from trauma, or especially where they've been abused physically or sexually. They resort to physical exercise,
Also too much, in my opinion.
as a way of releasing their aggression, or feeling going from being the victim to the powerful macho man. And we both know individuals who what's the first thing they do when they leave the community? They're in the gym 24/7 because they want to present themselves as strong, as capable, as macho men, whatever their image of men is, whatever it was opposite of what they grew up with.
Yeah.
That's what they think is masculine and male, and then what happens is they get so muscled up that what happens?
They get so muscled up on the outside, and you really think, wow, I'm meeting here a strong person with muscles, but really their emotional state, their inner state doesn't catch up with that physique. And there is a big gap between the big Superman on the outside and the little baby inside that's so confused and so, so lost. So that even makes it a more ridiculous person. You see this big man and you think you're going to date him and he's going to protect you and he's going to support you and he's going to be an emotional power stone for you. And meanwhile, he can cry to you something that someone took his parking spot. So
what we're saying is that the macho, all this emphasis on physical, external, is actually a way of them not having to deal with their little baby inside, their little sense of self that feels small, victimized, and abused.
Yeah.
Would you say?
Yeah, and I think when you go to the gym a lot, I mean, that's my personal opinion. When you go to the gym a lot, or you start doing certain self-defense techniques, You can hurt yourself so much, and a lot of the people, they're used to this kind of physical pain anyway, so it, in a way, it's like a therapy for them. But again, I'm saying it depends how far you take it. The most important thing, not to exaggerate with anything, not to go to extremes. But you know, you see it a lot. The people that come from one extreme, they go to the other extreme, and then years later they find the middle way. But if you could shorten this process that could be so painful to come from one extreme and find yourself at all the way to the other extreme, if you can shorten it by getting the right tools, the right people around you, and not being afraid. Many people are rather go to the gym for 5 hours than having a conversation over coffee with a girl or a guy. Because that's more challenging.
These are real issues. You know, the need to be, for men at least, to be in the gym all day, to give them that, you know, a lot of them, it does help them feel more confident and whatever, but sometimes it's like, they're almost like self-inflicting themselves with.
Yeah, but you know also what happens? So here is this man that had to spend all the time in the mikveh with other men, so now instead of being out there and trying to find out what's a woman, how to talk to her, how to connect to her, because a woman needs emotions, so they find themselves instead of the mikveh going to the gym and with men taking selfies with men with muscles. So
Wow.
what did you accomplish?
Wow.
What did you accomplish? From the mikveh to the gym and to the sauna with the men, with the same men you were in the cheder, now you find yourself in the gym taking selfies with the towels. So
Hashtag mikveh to the gym.
so then again, if you
It's
want
not just mikveh, it's yeshiva, it's, yeah.
So if you want to be, and if you really want to get yourself out of the Hasidic system, you also have to take the Hasidic system out of you and give a chance to something completely new. So you have to start forming friendship that will take more emotions out of you. Even with a guy, a different way with a guy, not just in a gym to see how much iron you can lift. Maybe have a conversation somewhere. Maybe not just, you know, maybe something a little deeper. To also, yeah, like I notice a lot of the conversations of the OTD are very superficial. They can see their friend going through something very painful. They're not going to even ask the friend, hey, what's going on with you? Why? They might make a little joke and just brush it over and then start talking about the football on the TV. Mm-hmm. You know, because even with their own friends, they don't even know how to go there. A good friend, what's my OTD is a good friend? Not someone they meet now and they become a friend. It's someone they grew up with in the past for many years and they were their neighbors.
Right.
In the shtetl, no, in the community. So again, it's about developing your inner skills, your inner personality. The way you have muscles in your body, you also have muscles of the soul. And the way, when you go to the gym, you don't want to take steroids to be bigger because, you know, people that take steroids, that means there's something. So people that take drugs, it looks the same on the soul stuff that they have to build.
Wow.
No, that's
So much wisdom from this lady.
Come, give me some questions, give me some challenges.
Yeah, probably, yeah. Yeah, so let's, so we talked about jobs, we talked about touch. Let's talk about general relationships, okay? I had a guy today contact me, he's OTD, he's not sure where he falls in the religious world, but yet he's really, really yearning to be in a relationship with someone that, you know, just to see what does it feel like, what, you know, how do I navigate myself in a relationship with a woman. This was a woman. So what advice do you have about people who are navigating themselves with a relationship, and like how, you know, a lot of these guys are kind of lost, and yet they really want a relationship to kind of to explore, you know. When I say lost, I mean they don't know where what they want from life. They don't know if they want a religious life. They don't know what a religious life would mean for them once they've left their community. So what tools can we give them, I guess is my question.
I think the most important tool is to tell them, look forward to this like a great adventure. Don't be scared. Don't be scared. You're starting to live your real life now. Don't be scared of feeling emotions. Feeling emotions, being alive. Don't be like a dead man walking. Learn what's a woman. Learn what's important, not just to a woman, let's say if it's a guy. to another human being and start, you see, start using the positive things that you have in yourself, things that start looking at the other person like they're a person like you, what you like, what you would like. Be kind. If you're kind to someone, if you're listening to someone, if you're trying to be understanding and not judging someone, if you take away your guilty feelings about things you think you're wrong, open your heart to the other person. That's the thing. Start by opening your heart. Ask questions. Don't be on the defense. If the other person asks you a question, don't feel like they're trying to trick you. They're
Right.
trying to judge you. Maybe they're trying to get closer to you and learn you how to bond with you. Yeah, I say welcome feelings. I don't know, like again, each case is a little different because different people have more weaknesses in certain areas and more strength in certain areas. But all I say is like the best adventure. Once you leave, like once you're in OTD, and you left the way that you were brought up, open yourself to the new life, and you're gonna learn, and you're gonna grow, and you're gonna discover such beautiful things inside you. It's so much worth it to take a chance on feelings than to continue living like a plant.
Okay, guys, let's see. Do you have any questions for us? Anyone want to write a question? I see you.
Is there anybody that you see? I have no idea. This is
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I guess,
I answered all the questions.
and maybe let's just tie it into where we are in Jewish history and what we see going on in the Hasidic communities actually mirrors us, that we're living in the redemption of Mashiach. Maybe you could just talk about that.
Okay, I'm gonna say my opinion about something after I learned certain things and read certain things. I believe that in the Galut more, the days of the Galut, we connected very much to Hashem's male power. It says Hashem ish milchama, he's a warrior. Hashem beyad chazaka, bezroa netuya, he took us out of Egypt. There's a lot of strength for us. We needed Hashem. We had to go through a lot of wars to go and conquer the land of Israel when we left Egypt. So it was a lot of things, physical things. And I feel now that we're in the Galut already and getting more and more deeper in the Galut. I'm sorry, we're in the Geulah and we're getting deeper and deeper in the Geulah. I think there is more, the feminine side of Hashem is starting to reveal itself. It's more like, you see, I read somewhere that Hashem's words are the Shekhinah, and this is the female side of Hashem. And now we're in the era of communication. You don't need to have muscles to be able to press an atomic bomb and to ruin the whole world. You don't need to fight with bow and arrows and with very difficult weapons. So now you feel all this like strong female energy entering the world. So
Strong female energy.
strong female energy, like the goddess. The goddess, okay, the Shekhinah now is also entering the world. So that's exactly why this is the right time to connect to emotions, because this is a female energy. Start connecting, not in a negative way or this, I'm not trying to say a joke, like to the female, everybody has a female side, a male side. Try to connect a little more to the emotional side, but it's not really female. It's the side that seems softer, but it's really the strong one in a way.
I like that. So I think what you're saying is we're living in a time of Mashiach. The Lubavitcher Rebbe said, like, this Mashiach is here. But basically what we're seeing in communities like Hasidish, or even whatever community it is, of people wanting, searching, there's a lot of seekers, okay? There are a lot of seekers who are not happy with the masculinity of their community. And that's masculinity meaning do this, do that. It's very forced, and it's very masculine energy.
Without talking to them, without explanation, without opening their mind, they're not given reason, and they're just told to do something. So that's where,
right? So that's what we're seeing in today's day and age, is that people are they're done. They're done with the masculine energy. Give me something ruchnius, geula. It's all feminine, and I think that the more I mean, women have a natural, they're more in touch with their femininity, hopefully, but men, I think, are really struggling with their feminine side. And when God created man, he created them male and feminine.
The first person that God said, we're gonna create men in our image. It was male, female, one body, meaning male, female energy together. And then it went back to creating Adam and then Chava and the whole thing. But yes, another
Yes,
thing.
I just want to say before we conclude, we do have a sponsor for this show, for this segment, and his name is Henry Goodwin, and he can be found on Facebook. And he started this company called Renew Jews, and it's basically all about recycling. How Jews are very much into Bal Tashlich, we shouldn't waste food or whatever. And he started this new organization to help Jews get in the habit of recycling and not just trashing, food and wasting a lot. So that's, thank you, Henry.
Thank you.
Okay, so now let's just, and we have a couple more minutes.
I'm looking behind us and I see the rose. I think it's a very nice thing to try to meditate on. As you see the rose, it's like very deep inside the rose. I'm not going to say other things that you think I'm going to say about what the rose can symbolize. I'm not going to get into that. But you see how the rose has a lot of petals, a lot of levels. So that's how it is. Your inner center is all about your deep feelings. And then you have all these things around your feelings. And when you go like petal by petal by petal, you can reach your inner feelings. It's a journey. It's a process. It's not going to happen overnight, but everybody has to stop and smell the roses at some point.
That's beautiful, and red symbolizes passion and also din. But yeah, so wow, Anda, I feel like you have so much wisdom. I think that I could see us meeting up again and talking about issues, and it seems like you have a lot of history with this population. Is it fair to say that a lot of men, contact you?
I do. Listen, I'm not embarrassed. You know what? I'm honored. Why not? Yes, a lot of men contact me with a lot of interesting questions and challenging questions. Sometimes I don't know if I should curse at them or give them love. But the real point is that people have questions and they have curiosities and they don't even know where to go and who to ask. And they try it everywhere, and sometimes they might say it a little bit not so appropriate, but you know what? I know it comes from a pure place in their heart. It doesn't come from a bad place. And I just want to say, if anybody has any questions, they can always contact Chana. Chana also knows how to deal with a lot of people in this community in a lot of levels. And Chana, I forgot, you're a physical therapist? Or?
I'm an occupational therapist.
She's an occupational therapist, and that's also with the senses. You have to work a lot with the hands, with the... Yeah, and and I do a lot of coaching, also professional and also personal, but mainly about the senses, about your soul, and how to stay healthy and young.
Wow.
Forever young.
Fountain of youth, right here.
Fountain of youth.
And I think that's, and I'm seeing a really big need for people off the derech to have some kind of coach. We're not therapy deals with trauma. It's more talk therapy. We want to get people to a place of feeling, but also action.
Of course, feelings bring to action.
Right. So I think what I'm saying is,
if you don't have feelings, you won't be able to do action. The feelings, like now, there's all these studies that all the marketing campaigns are trying to evoke feelings in people, not thoughts. Feelings bring to action, to purchasing, to doing, to building.
So this is just a shout out to us that we're here as mentors, as you start your journey. Hopefully it's a positive one, and I'm sure it has a lot of challenges, but we are here as people who have a lot of experience dealing with people in OTD, and we'd love to just share it and be your friend and be those spiritual mothers that maybe never helped you be you and be the best you that you want to be. And that's, I think, the message that we want to bring from this is that we know who you are, we know where you're coming from, we see it when we interview you, when we date you, when we meet you in a party, and how much longer are you going to use the same tactics that don't really lead to meaningful relationships? So I guess if we were to just let's just review if we were to give like a 10-minute review about what this class was about and what tips people should remember. So I'm just going to start. It's exploring touch with yourself. It's exploring touch with other people.
So the feeling, all the senses. Touch is an important one because you reach out to another person, like really with touch, but also, anything with eyes, with ears. You can also check yourself. What makes you have to see what feels good. Some people that I met in OTD, they don't know what somebody. Let's say they go to a massage, someone touches them, they don't know if they feel good or not. I never understood that, but maybe because they experience things in their body that are conflicting and stuff, they're not sure. So you have to start, working on it and realizing what tastes good to you, what feels good in this. Also, so again, if you want to advance yourself in a professional way, you have to realize that all these things are important also in the outside business world. In any profession, in anything you choose, anything from driving a truck, from working in a grocery, or from being a big boss in a company, it's still you're dealing with people, and people you communicate verbally and non-verbally through senses. That's another thing. And okay, and we're here to help. Girls and guys. Also, we can help women. We didn't speak a lot about the ladies.
Oh yeah.
But there is a lot. Maybe another time we'll do. There's a lot to help the ladies. The ladies should feel comfortable to reach out to you, to me. We would love to share things.
Okay. All right. So we have about 5 minutes left.
I wish they would call and say something and.
I know.
Yeah, but it's okay. It's only the first time this way, right? It's the first time they see you.
Yeah.
You didn't realize how beautiful you are.
Yeah.
You see,
Surprise.
until now, she was on the radio. We only used our sense of hearing. Now you see how beautiful, the colors. She even smells good. Yeah. And this is more personal because there's more senses involved.
True. Well, we didn't want to bombard you guys with senses. That's what it was.
Yeah, but you see, now I'm sure you heard her on the radio and you liked her a lot and you like what she said. But now you see a smile attached to a word. You see when she's more serious, when she's not so serious. You see, so you get so much more when you pay attention with all the senses.
Okay, so this has been a question that has been brought to me a lot. If a guy sees a girl and he's struggling with not wanting to feel rejected, and even though ecstasy and put up a cold front, they really do that because they really deeply feel. They really deeply feel, and I think some of the guys that come across really, really hard and tough, as we were saying, are really, really weak inside.
Let's say not weak. Let's say sensitive.
Sensitive, yeah. So
that's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing.
So what tips can you do to pick up a girl that, is respectful to them, but also direct and, confident? Like what advice do you give to guys who want to pick up a girl but just haven't found the right balance yet? Sometimes they feel like they're too much, they cross boundaries, they just say what's on their mind, or they're very blunt or direct, and then it falls back in their face. So what do you like?
I would say just to look at the girl, to come with a smile, to say hi, how are you, ask her if she'd like a drink, and then find a nice compliment to say, not like you have nice breasts. Say something nice, but not awkward. Like
right.
Something,
so smile, eye contact.
Always have a nice smile. Always, eye contact. Always show generosity. I believe, maybe I'm old-fashioned, a man should be generous. You don't have to spend on a girl to buy a $90 steak for the first second you see her, but you could offer her a little drink, ask if she's thirsty, if she'd like a drink, if she'd like something, look in her eyes. You know, don't stare. Don't stare. Just look casually and give a nice compliment. Wow, I like the color you know what? I have even a better idea. It's it's a good idea not to say I love your dress. Say you look so beautiful in your dress. You know what I mean? Don't compliment also something, a product
Wow.
directly. It's better to say something to her indirectly about something she chose. So, and then it's also a conversation piece because I said, wow, I didn't know this is where did you get it? Blah 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 blah. You know, and just try to be honest with it. Let your words come naturally. It will come out. Okay, I allow you to have a sip of a little wine before you come to the
That's
one
actually,
sip.
yeah. On this retreat that I went to, all the guys before they went up to the girl, they made sure they had a lot of alcohol in them to relax. You know.
Yeah, but a lot of alcohol, then you make a fool out of yourself, and the girls feel it, and you start talking slowly and stuttering, and
Yeah. Okay. Fine. So, guys, we or girls even, it's up to you now.
go and practice.
Go and practice. Give us feedback about what you liked about the show, what you didn't like it, since it is on a new visual medium. And I think that's it. Any last words for our? So this is us, and we're here at our new studio home for now, for this week, and I think that's it.
Okay, hope to see you soon again. Maybe
All
in
right.
parties, maybe in the city, maybe in a job interview. I'll see you. I'm sure it's a small world.
I love her sense of passion, her sense of sensuality. Guys, if you like it, let us know, okay? Well,